Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Bollocks Part 68. I thought I'd show you my new Wonk Unit mask. I have a few masks. Oh, I have found though that any of the masks that I wear, if I breathe a lot, it seems like my glasses, but yeah. But I thought this one is quite cool and of Wonk Unit. Oh look, you can sort of make the mouth move a bit. Anyway, I'll take this up to talk to you guys. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday afternoon. It is 20 to 6 on Sunday, the June the 7th. I actually went to bed around 3 o'clock this morning, and I finished watching a series that I've been watching on Now TV called The Affair. It's a very good series. Lots of actors and actresses that you would recognise in it, and it's quite interesting because it is about one man and one woman's affair with each other. Both are married to other people at the time, but it's the subsequent falling out over the generations and over time, and what happens to the different members. And it's often got the same story told from the different characters' point of view. So in one of the episodes, almost the same scene happens, but it's from the different point of view of the different people involved in the scene. And it really got me to thinking. I mean, it's good. Check it out. I liked it. I finished it now. It's 5 seasons. I got it on Now TV. And I don't know, I think it might be a Sky thing, The Affair. So check it out. But it did get me to thinking how we all perceive things differently. And that's quite important that we do. However, there comes a point where perceiving things differently crosses over into holding on to beliefs and opinions when they're outdated and should be updated. And we have a great supercomputer called the brain, and that we should use it. And I do believe the brain is quite capable of embracing and understanding that history and life moves on. And this is in reference to the pandemic and Black Lives Matter, and that 2020 is quite an interesting year, and we're living it. And I was wondering today, after I had this very long lay until 2:30, what it is they will say, what our children will remember about this time, and what they will say about this time. And that I hope that this time pushes history forward. And of course, history in the making, I'm sure every time history has been made, and we are fascinated. I'm fascinated by the lives of samurai and women samurai, and the clans of samurai and what they did. And some of it's quite hard to understand because life is, for one, it's a different country. Japanese culture is quite different to British culture. And for two, it was a long time ago. So the world outside of things were quite different. And I think it was harder to, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have a guess here though. I'm wondering how hard it was to share that history at the time that history was happening. Because history feels quite big and all over the world right now because we all know about it. We all know about it very quickly. We have multiple agencies reporting on the things that are going on around the world. So multiple points of view, a plethora of views on social media. And apart from which sides I'm on, because I do believe there are sides, and I don't believe having sides is about division. I mean, choosing a side obviously divides people, and I've certainly unfriended and been unfriended this week, which I actually have no problem with. And I did think about it massively, but history doesn't move forward, and we don't move forward when things are peaceful and stagnant and quiet. We move forward, and all history has moved forward when it's been violent and aggressive and protesting and putting those things out there and pushing things. Everything doesn't have to be violent. I understand the riots. I don't necessarily agree with them, and I don't necessarily don't agree with them. In my brain, I've kind of got the both sides of the story going on, and I don't necessarily disagree with either of them. But when you've tried to do peaceful and it doesn't work, then what are you left with? And it's like, I think it comes a point where it does get like that through frustration when you're not listened to. I mean, who in a conversation, when you have a conversation with even just one other person and they clearly won't listen and they won't even engage, it becomes frustrating. And partly that's why I've sort of defriended people. I also massively don't agree with a lot of their views, and partly it's because there is nothing to engage with, and I think engaging with people is important. We are supposedly superior beings on this planet. I'm smiling because I don't think that's true. I think we're beings that are aggressive and violent, and we take and take and take. I was really pleased to see that a statue in Bristol had been pulled down today. I did mean to write down his name, but the name didn't seem important. It's the act to me that felt important. That was a slave owner. Statue was taken down in Bristol today, and a friend of mine, Hannah, posted that, and I will share it later, because I think it's a wonderful way to say it very simply, is that people will say, well, that's part of history, and also taking down the statue is part of history too. History can move on. And the fact that, a few years ago in London, they did a survey of the statues, and most of the statues, I think it was like 99% of the statues were white men. And so representation in statues, in art, in social media, in telly, in the authors that we read, the directors that we watch, the films of, the writers, makeup artists, clothes designers, all of this has to be represented. And I think this is the problem with white male privilege. And I know that's controversial, and I use it because it's controversial. Mostly the fact that I've said that just a few times and people have lost their shit sometimes says a lot about how they don't actually even want to listen. Because imagine growing up and you're a black girl and nothing you see or read or hear feels like it has any relevance to you. That's privilege. The dolls that we play with, I know it's got better, and that's great. That's really, really brilliant that it's got better, but it's still got some way to go. I shared something that I need to read properly about how many black authors do you know. To be fair, I also don't often remember authors, so for me that's the thing. But how many black directors do you know? How many directors that are women do we know? The list goes on, and I think it's time now to take it by the balls, be honest about it, and move society on. History is important, and it's important to understand who that history was written by, why that history was written by those people, and understand that there was history that was written, but it was never allowed to come out. It's not part of our society, and history should be part of our society. I talked about this the other day. Black History Month is not enough. We need more. We need to know all of the history that makes up who we are and what we are in order to take that forward. It's not about being perfect, and it's not about what is it not about? It is about moving forward, but we can only move forward when we take control of the history of the past and make that history known of how we got where we are. I think that's important shit, right? I've also going to start reading this. This was recommended to me when I ordered Skin from Skunk Nancy's, pre-ordered her autobiography, which I'm really bloody exciting. I proper have a massive crush on Skin from Skunk Nancy, but also I fucking love the band because they are so tight and together, and I love that they've all known each other since they were little, and their music means a lot to me. It's taken me through the last few years, and it took me through difficult times in the 90s when I was a teenager. This was recommended to me, Bernadine Evaristo, Girl, Woman, Other. I don't often read books that are winners of things because I kind of like the idea of having just exploring things myself. I do, however, would have chosen this book anyway because the cover's bloody brilliant, and I'm very into yellow at the moment, so which is cool. I'm also, as I said the other day, waiting on some other books to come, and I'm looking forward to them too. This afternoon, it's shitty. I'm tired still, despite my monster 2:30 p.m. lay-in today. Gonna do some crochet, and I found this. What the bloody hell is it called? I'm actually gonna look it up while we're on here. I found this new series on Netflix that I really love. And I really love programmes about women's friendships. And I realise that's probably because women's friendships to me are massively important and a big part of my life. Of course, Netflix is now taking fucking forever to load. But it's something Magnolias. I think it's Sweet Magnolias. And I like the title because it reminded me of the film. Is it Still Magnolias? Sweet Magnolias it's called on Netflix. And I think there's a couple of seasons on there. But it's just about the lives and loves of some women in America, actually. In a southern town, I think. Terrible with American geography. They sound like they have southern accents, but I could be wrong. Because, yeah. What else? Yeah. I had a message today, actually, also from a friend who's going to give me a dragonfly brooch. Which is really cool because, as you guys know, I graded, myself and Smallies graded on Wednesday, and we received our second Q in EIDO. And we, yesterday was also 29 years since Tommy Otani passed away, and so she didn't know that, and today I got a message saying she'd found a brooch that she likes me to have, and that, thank you, Jan. I really appreciate that. And sometimes life seems a bit overly coincidental, which is cool. I feel very lucky that I have such amazing family and friends, an amazing group of people around me. I really do. Anyway, on that kind of emotional, sobering note, before I start to tear up and get all more emotion, I should say, I'm going to go because I've got shit to do. Not much shit to do. I'm probably going to do some crochet, make a couple more earrings because I'm really exploring some earring prototypes at the moment, which is cool, and maybe play a bit of guitar because I haven't played for a few days, and I don't want those nice little pads that I got all hard over weeks and weeks of practice to go all soft. Anyway, I hope you're all okay. I hope you're doing all right. Don't forget there's only 2 more left of Talking Bollocks. Thank you for watching, listening when you have tuned in. I've really appreciated it and enjoyed our time together. So you have a good day, guys. See you later.